Control S and Z for the win. We rolling?
We rolling.
Oh shoot!
We rolling. We
Yay!
rolling.
What's good,
We rolling
bro?
with my boy Deshaun
Feel
Forrest
me? What's up with it? It's your boy Deshaun.
and Demiere
You know what I'm saying? This is a special collab episode of Unrehearsed
and the Right Here Wright Now podcast.
yeah. What's up with y'all? Shout out Brandon behind the
Shout out
camera.
Brandon, shout out
You
Brandon.
know what I'm saying?
This is Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. Both two great programmings finally meeting up, and it's dope because Brandon is somebody who is important to both of us.
Right.
And I think it's important to give him a huge shout out because
Salute to
like
Brandon.
we both knew that this day was gonna come.
Yeah.
We just didn't know when it was.
Wow.
And Brandon definitely bridged that gap. So I'm glad that we can have this crossover.
Yeah.
And it's dope because this is not only is the first time me collabing, this is the first time me having somebody reach out to be on the actual podcast.
Really?
Prior to this, every single person I have gone out and I've reached out to because I just had that vision. So this one is dope for somebody else's vision to like finally intercede.
Yeah,
So I appreciate you, bro.
For sure. We got the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour
Come on
collab
now.
going.
Come on now. Come on now.
We here with it,
Come on
bro.
now.
You know what I'm saying? For those that been tuning in to Unrehearsed, you know it's Unrehearsed tradition. Every single episode we shout out Brandon. So, you know, Brandon gets nothing but love over here. He's the man behind the camera for the podcast, for the music videos, for the photo shoots. Like, he brings the abstract idea into his visual body. So we give love to Brandon every time we do a little something, bro.
Yeah, sorry, Brandon.
Yeah.
Brandon is also the curator behind the Right Here Right Now podcast, the music videos and everything, the exact same thing that you're saying. So it is beautiful to get the awareness to be able to shout out the people who've been writing for you for years. And special shout out to Brandon also because 2 days ago, my older brother just got married and Brandon did the wedding.
Hey.
So, I love you, brother.
Shout out to Brandon, bro.
Yeah, shout out to
Everyone needs a Brandon in their life.
Yeah, if you don't got a Brandon, go get one.
Get you a Brandon. But yeah, man, we here, bro. We here. And one thing I was looking forward to doing is one of the reasons why is because aside from just us talking about it, just throughout time, it's just like, you know, we can actually like really dive in and have that creators conversation. We both got a lot of stuff coming. We both can relate to a lot of things as I'm an artist. He's an artist. I got a podcast. He got a podcast. That entrepreneurship mindset and stuff like that. So I was like, man, I've never actually done an episode where it was like about like art kind of thing.
Exactly.
Unrehearsed has always been so much society and culture, which I love, which is it was done on purpose. But you know, Mo was always like, you got to do, you know, creative stuff. You got to, you know, I'm like, you know, maybe I'll get to it. But now we finally here,
finally
bro.
Here. And
finally
it's
here.
a blessing to be the person who bridged that gap too. Because like it was funny that you said that because my last podcast was technically my first one of somebody who was also like a creator or at least not necessarily the first person as doing a creator, but the first person like doing it actively every single day. You know what I mean? Trying to do his musical thing. So it's like, I'm excited to get behind the mindset of another artiste because people don't know. People don't know. These words aren't just words. These syllables and all these things that we use to express ourselves, they're not just words. And a lot of people in this generation, they hear an awesome beat, and they're like, oh, man, dude, he killed it up there. But you're like, I killed it, but if you would have heard me, you would have heard my pain. You would have heard, bro. And that's why when I listen to your song, bro, when I listen to that song, it's one of my favorite ones. Yeah. Because you talked about something that not a lot of people really talk about, and it's what you have to sacrifice. What you have to sacrifice is, it's one of those things where you're not always thinking about it. It's not always in the forefront of your brain, but when it is, it's like a selfless act. You know that you have to give something in order to get something, and then not necessarily in a bad way. Maybe even if you're trying to get better, like a better version of you, right? You have to let go of the old version of you, and it's like it's hard to do that when you're here because all you know is what you knew.
Oh, you know, what you know is what you know, and that. I mean, we diving right into it already, you know. Sorry about that. We get on, and no, I love it. I love it. You know, by the time this episode drop, I'll have a new song out called Sacrifice featuring Mo. Y'all been tuning into the show. Y'all know who Mo is, co-host on and co-founder and co-host on the show Unrehearsed, and she's on that hook. And yeah, it's interesting. You said somewhere you was like, oh yeah, they'd be like, oh, man, the beat sound good or the song itself sound good, but that pain that went into it. Some folks don't always understand. It's a life experience you gotta live in order to write a song like that.
Exactly.
There's a kind of season you gotta be in order to make a song like that possible.
And to release a song like that, to let go and have people clap and dance to your pain, have people nod their head and cheer you on to the things that hurt you the most.
Right.
I think it's such an interesting season of feeling it,
Mm-hmm.
expressing it,
Exactly.
finding a way to be creative,
Mhm.
and then sharing it, putting it out there, letting other people listen to it, super uncomfortable, and then performing it. And then you're going to these different venues, giving that experience over and over again. And it's like, even if you're past that pain, when you perform that, bruh, and you be in it, it's like you get to relive it just for
To
that
an
amount of
extent.
seconds. And I think I'm to the point where like I'm finally trying to get to the point where like when I'm done with the rehearsal, when I'm done with singing it and I'm off stage, to release that pain, and it's not carrying with me
Yeah, put it
after
back
I get
down.
off that stage.
Yeah.
It's like,
bro.
yo, I don't need this movie to keep
Yeah.
playing in my brain.
Yeah, that's real as heck.
Yeah.
Cause I'm finna perform that song tonight.
See what I'm saying?
I'm finna perform that song tonight in Vallejo. Shout out Gorilla Voltage for letting me open up with them. Shout out Noble Cinema Studios out in Vallejo. We got a show tonight.
Fire.
But that's one of the records I'll be doing, and it's when I first really started getting into doing that record, I noticed it's like, oh, like I never forget. You know, on stage, I'm rapping my verse or the chorus is playing, I'm doing my thing, but in the back of my mind, it's like, oh, shoot. It's like you remember what went
Into this moment.
to this song, and you hear the chorus, you hear the never had enough. I'm like, ah. Like you start hearing that kind of stuff, and it's like, it's real, but I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way, because that one of the earliest experiences I've had doing music. I released a SoundCloud project, and it was my first tape. I was first semester in college. I didn't think nothing of it because it was my first batch of songs, and I'm at the school doing whatever, and someone come up to me, an old friend come up to me, and it's like, hey, yo, I haven't seen a person in a minute, so I was happy to see them. It's like, oh, man, how you doing? And it's like, you know, I heard that record, that project you dropped, and I was like, that was everything I needed to hear. It's like I needed that. Mind you, I'm like 18.
Wow.
Joint probably got like 20 plays on SoundCloud.
Wow.
You know, sometimes I heard a pastor say we often judge significance by size.
Wow.
So at 20 to 40 to 60, barely cracking 100 plays on the whole 6-song joint, you're not thinking about, man, I'm making an impact out there.
Wow.
But at the same time, you don't know who's listening. You don't know who's watching. You just know that, in my mind, well, I dropped the project. It's out there. I got to go to class now.
Bro, it's crazy that you say that, because I have my own guru that I heard who said something similar. My uncle, Wendell, he told me that, like, don't think that what you put in is a reflection of the numbers. Like, all the things that you put into that, to making those songs that guy heard, who said that's what I needed. Don't think that all the emotion, all the life experience that you put into that is a reflection of 20 people. Because, bro, once you get on and you continue to do this, people are going to go back, and it's still going to be, even though it's one of your first projects and you're better now, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's one of your first projects, they're going to go back and be like, that's what I needed to hear for somebody else in the world. Old to you, new to somebody else.
Yeah. And you can't ever predict it, bro. So like you'll never really know. And so that was one of the earlier moments, and I'm still, because you're never really gonna know. You know what I mean? But that was one of those things where it really taught me, like, oh, you don't really know how far this really goes, even if you don't quote unquote make it. You just never really understand who's being impacted by it, and sometimes you don't really know the influence or the impact that you're having when you put out a song that you hope would work, and maybe to your standards it didn't work, but you don't know who that just inspired. Exactly. I never forget, I was doing all of my, I gotta stop calling it this. I was doing all my The project is called Transparent too.
Okay.
I call it my sad boy music
Ooh.
because I was going through a rough time.
Mm.
But I was putting out when I was dropping the Transparent projects. Somebody had sent me a message that somebody had sent them, and was like, "Yo, my homegirl listened to that song or that music video, and it brought tears to their eyes.
Wow.
They felt like their voice was heard."
Wow.
Mind you, at that time, I'm flipping burgers.
Mm.
I didn't make it. At the time of us shooting this, and to my standards, I ain't made it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I
But you
understand.
just, maybe that song, I don't know what that person was going through, but maybe that song kept them going another day or two. Maybe it kept them going for another week.
Wow.
You just really don't know. So that's one of the things that keeps me going.
And I was gonna say to flip that around, because that's beautiful that they're able to have that experience of your music, but to flip that around for you, how does that feel to get that kind of response? Because like you went through your
No
own.
one's ever asked me that.
No one's ever asked me that. Hey, you gonna get a lot of questions you never heard before.
Okay.
Because I love listening to people's true ideals of. Because like you just explained to me, right, that you put out an album, right, and it was transparent, it was sad, and you went through something very deeply, and you were able to put it out to the world, and that's beautiful. And you were able not only to put it out, but somebody was able to receive it in the way that maybe you even had hoped. I don't know what you hope when people hear your stuff, if you want them to understand you or understand themselves in your songs. So that's why I asked the question is, what do you even want people to experience when they hear a sad song of yours?
Well, to be honest, I'll take you to where my mind was in the moment. Because I share all these stories from hindsight, but in the moment, it was like, I just need a vent, bro.
Yeah.
I was going through, heartbreak, depression, all that kind of stuff. And so when I got that response, it was like, well, I'm not the only one out here. You know what I mean? I don't know the full extent to how that person was impacted, but me, because I was still in my mess while I was dropping the stuff. So I wasn't like, ooh, I feel great. Now let me tell y'all what happened a very long time ago.
Wow.
It's like, yo, if anything, this is what I just came out of. So I'm still kind of feeling the after effects. But I remember just feeling like, we got one.
Wow.
That's one person that feel good. That's one person that feel better. Hopefully that thing comforts them, and they don't go to as dark of a place that I was in, or if they are in that place, that gives them the courage to get out of it and even seek God, and even just just keep going, bro. Just give it another day, another week. Just don't stop, don't quit. You know what I mean?
I have a really, really big question, and I think it's big because it's big to me because it's almost as if I'm asking for a little bit of game on this.
We can give the game out. Let's go.
You said something that was super, super impactful to me a second ago, and you just talked about how you were still going through it, and you put it out. See, me, I only have like 2 songs out. I have thousands of songs in my vault, and I'm coming out with a project, right?
Okay.
And it's called Love on Autopilot. And it's my sad boy music, right?
Okay.
But it's 2 years in the making.
Okay.
Meaning that I am still semi-attached to the feeling, but I'm not in it. And
I know what you mean by that. I know exactly.
So-
I know exactly what you mean by
so
that.
the game that I'm asking for is, how were you able to go through that experience and put it out so quickly? What do you feel like? What do you feel like? Because for me, right, the reason why it may be easier for me right now to put it out is because I'm detached from the actual emotion of it. And you said you were in it. So, and I'm not going to say I would have loved to put it out back then, but I'm saying like going forward, right? When I'm feeling something, because I got another project coming out called People Pleasing. And I feel like I'm still in that stage, and I'm down to put that one out. And I'm just trying to bridge that gap of what is the difference of being in the emotion and still being able to let go of it and let it happen right now, rather than to try to heal from it and then put it out.
Loaded, as I like to say, loaded questions deserve loaded answers. I like that.
That was a good.
Loaded questions deserve loaded answers. So for me, and this is just me, releasing it helps me to be released from it. Because music, for those that don't create songs, music is like an extension of us.
Exactly.
take any one of my songs, and that song represents a specific part of me, whether it was that part of me in that season or a part of me that's with me for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? It's kind of like God making man. It's an extension of Him. You know what I mean? So for me to release it, and Sacrifice is one of those ones where like I was in a phase, and me releasing it helps me to be released from it. So when I release a project, I literally have a moment where I'm like, because it's gone.
Wow.
So to take whatever you want from that, but I would say that, and the fact that it also keeps it at its rawest, because when you get far away from it, moving on, and then trying to go back and tell the story, the emotions aren't as strong, and you may skip details or arcs of the story that if you caught it in the moment,
You'd have more to
it
talk
was like,
about.
huh.
I love that, dude.
And so when I was, and I didn't, like, no one taught me that. It's just what I noticed as I was just going along the way. But when I was dropping, the 2 Transparent projects, I was dealing with depression, writing We Might Be Here Longer, and trying to get out of it while I hit up Brandon and all my coworkers, and we went down to Alcatraz to shoot a video as prisoners.
Wow.
I'm literally trying to come out of it, and we're making videos of it.
Wow.
And so that's what I would say. And I know as artists, we like to hold on to, like, is this right? This is the right song? I don't know. I don't know. Is this good? Maybe I need to rewrite this. Maybe let me get it someone else or something like that. But that's what I would say. But you got it, bro. Like I told you before, I told Demiere before we turned the cameras on, I was like, that song, My Values, that joint, I was listening to it at work, and just knowing what I know about you, I looked, I was like, I know bro got way more music than this.
Yeah, no, literally.
When I was on your Spotify, I was just listening to what you had up on there, and I listened to everything. But when I got to Values, I was like, I don't want to stop listening to this joint.
Wow, thank
because
you,
this joint is real.
Thank you, yeah.
And I'm like, it's one of them joints where if you in that kind of season or even about to come or kind of coming out of it, it's like when you can relate to it, it's like, man, bro, I can hear this all the time, bro.
I appreciate that. And I think there's a huge jump between the 3 songs that I do have on there. I was like, the first time that I was ever able to write something solo was Ice-T. It was just fun. And it's cute. And I'm talking about love. I'm talking about Ice-T. It's summertime and it's enjoyable. It's catchy. It was my first time stepping out. Like, how could I sound like on this beat? And I used to just freestyle a lot. And then I wrote Bad Guy, which is like a huge shift where it's like, whoa, I feel like a villain.
Darker tone.
I feel like a villain, bro. But like, I want to be a good guy, and I feel like I try to save everybody, but I feel like everyone looks at me as this villain, and I'm getting into that character. So that's why in that music video, I'm trying to get in deep to the character. But now I dropped the whole persona. I dropped my name. I dropped the character that I'd created. I had been able to release certain things, right? And I feel like that's why My Values was able to come to fruition, because I was realizing that, like, dang, I created this character, and now that I'm on the best, like, and people still, like, I still was able to create great connections, great friends, and people love, who I am at my core, but it's like, now that I'm getting to a better season of me, could those same people still love me? Because I created a character that they might want this. If I used to be around people and I'm like, oh, okay, so they like a funny guy, I'm gonna be hilarious,
cracking jokes all day.
Yeah. Oh, they like a smart guy. Okay, well, I read books. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm in a season in which, like, since I dropped the name Plenty of Soul, and now I go by Demiere.
I remember that name.
I go by Demiere now. I'm able to write things that Demiere really feels.
So you feel more authentically you.
Exactly. And that's
it's more freeing, isn't it?
Dude, and that's why it was so funny when you were saying release, because I think now that I was able to listen and really absorb your words, the reason why I never put out these songs that I'm about to put out is because I really wanted to hold on to the emotion, even if it was hurt, even if it was pain. I'd rather experience the pain than nothing at all. You know what I mean?
And once you get used to it, it's what you know.
Exactly.
So it's like, what else? What comes next?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? What's the next emotion to write the next song for? If you, and that's kind of what I was experiencing to an extent. Like if going through a tough time, okay, my song's always coming from this kind of general area, and then now shifting to a different time where it's that, what is that next source of inspiration? But I encourage you just keep dropping, bro.
Yeah.
And honestly, I learned that's one of the best. That's where you really learn about yourself as a
Yeah.
creative. Like
I have so much. I have so much to drop. So I'm very excited. I have a 13 song album.
There you go.
13 song album and then a 7-song EP,
Mhm.
all trying to drop this year. So I'm
Okay.
super excited. I actually need to sidebar you after this and
Okay.
talk about like some ideas about like drops and stuff, because I feel like what I really appreciate about you
Mhm.
is your consistency. And
Oh, I
I've seen it,
appreciate
and
that.
if no one tells you, bro, you have been consistent. And I've seen a huge progression. That's why I really love Sacrifice, because like what you don't know is I be listening. I've been listening, bro. I just haven't been able to really chop it up because,
Mhm.
again, it's all about timing, man. And
Yeah.
I'm really happy that this is like happening right now, right
Yeah.
here, right
Right.
now.
Unrehearsed, man. There you go. No, I appreciate that. That mean everything. Cause, gosh dang, that mean everything. Cause sometimes we as artists we get in our head. I'll be like, yeah, I believe I'm consistent,
Yeah.
but am I really like doing enough?
Know what I'm saying? Yeah.
You check all your boxes and be like, was that enough?
Mhm.
Am I really doing enough? But yeah, I appreciate that, bro. And Sacrifice is off of it's a 8-song project. I was telling Brandon the joint is done.
And what is the project called, if I may ask? If not, if you don't want to
I'm
get
a-
too
yeah,
you don't wanna get
because
too
it's
much.
gonna come out quickly.
Okay.
It's called Long Live.
Long live.
Yeah, it's called Long Live, and we can come. I'm down to come back if you want to do another episode where we really dive into it.
Bro,
I'm
it's
I'm
good,
down
it's
to come
good,
back
it's
and
good,
do
it's
another
good.
one because that one, can't give away too much just yet.
Yeah.
But by the time this episode drops, Sacrifices will be out, and then got some shows coming up, and then Long Live should be out like June,
Perfect.
July,
Perfect.
and stuff like that. So when you create,
Yeah.
because I remember you had asked me earlier, like, what do you want people to get out of it? Are you thinking about, man? What do I want somebody to get out of it, or does that come later?
That's a great question.
Mhm.
Oh, that was an amazing question, actually. I think every song is really different, but the songs that I love the most personally, that I can, like my values, those type of songs,
I love that song, bro.
I really appreciate
love
that,
that
because
song.
you have no idea. I don't get feedback too often about
Same.
songs and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So if you need somebody to give you some true feedback,
Mhm.
I got you, brother.
There go.
Because egos aside,
Yeah.
I think you're an amazing artist for real.
Appreciate
I
that,
think
bro.
you're phenomenal. And I think, just to answer the question, I feel like there's specific songs in which I kind of release like thoughts, and I can really zoom in so much that I don't have to think about like what the impact is going to be. There's certain songs that the emotion is so raw that you don't even have to really you don't even have to get caught up
Yeah.
in how it's going to be received, because the whole point of it was to release the emotion that you have.
Yeah.
And just like you said, that young lady was able to draw from that. That's what she drew. That has nothing. It's not in your control. Even if I want even if I wanted to be like, I'm gonna make this song and I hope everyone thinks this when they hear it, I don't have that power.
Never how it goes.
I don't have that kind of power, and I don't want that kind of power, because I want everyone to experience me or my music in the way that they're supposed to.
Yeah. And then also depending on the stage of life that people are in, that'll play a factor in what they take from it.
Factual.
You know what I mean? It'll play a factor. Yeah, I asked that because I've been asked that in interviews before, whether I'm doing like a blog or a podcast or a radio interview, and they'd be like, what do you want people to get out of it? And I have an answer. I know what I want people to get out of it. But I'd be tripping if I say I'm writing a song in hopes that someone gets this out of it.
Yeah, because I think that's less authentic.
Yeah, like for me, I've always looked at music and songwriting as like it really started off as a lyrical diary
Yeah, it's like poetry
before
too.
it became like, oh, I'm gonna be an artist. I used to just write songs in high school and just back when iPods were more of a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why that sounded so old.
Nah, bro, we are definitely in a. It's been crazy the devices that we've been able
Yeah.
to see, from Game Boy to now
Yeah.
having a phone where you could FaceTime somebody in a different place.
Right. But I used to write my songs on my iPod in the notes section, and I'll just keep them there. And they started off as lyrical diaries. So when I'm doing my songs now, it starts off as that lyrical diary, whether I'm telling a story, or I'm just trying to get off an emotion, or if I'm even just trying to write a banger. You know what I mean? Like, it starts off as that, and then it's like, okay, listening to it, it's like, well, this is what I'm trying to say, so I would hope they get something like this
Wow.
out of it. But yeah,
I have a song on the EP with my friend TJ McCarty. I did the podcast with him. If you have not seen that, you got to go back and check it out. It's the last episode that I just did. TJ McCarty, Right Here Right Now podcast.
check it out.
And I bring that up because we have we have an EP called People Pleasing coming out, and one of me and his favorite songs is called Voice Memos. And in that song, we talk about kind of like your lyrical diary is what I call my voice memos in my phone, because when I record a song, I have 3 songs out,
Yeah.
but I have thousands of voice
Yeah.
memos, and all of them are timestamps of what I really went through. So basically the whole song is about no one knows me like my voice memos. So no one knows you like those voice diaries, because there's
Yeah.
unreleased stuff. There's stuff
Yeah.
that you'll never share. There's stuff that you just needed to get out. There's stuff that makes you feel uncomfortable. There's stuff that makes you feel happy. There's stuff that hurts. There's stuff that's inspirational. And all those things are you. So I think like that's why that really, it just popped into my brain of like, it's interesting how much those voice diaries know us as artists.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's yeah, like, that's where it's as raw and unfiltered. Like, even I put it to you like this: you had asked me to send the lyrics to Sacrifice,
Yeah.
and I went and I pulled it up, and it was, I kid you not, it was still in draft form. Like, the original version of the hook was still there.
Damn, that's
And I
crazy.
was like, and the old title of the song, I was like, oh snap, this is the old draft. Like, oh, I never cleaned up the draft. It's like I knew what I wanted to say and just kind of ignored some of the lyrics I didn't want to say.
Wow. No, it's so funny how you write it down.
Yeah.
When you go to put it on the mic, even though there's words that you're not gonna say, it's like they're invisible to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's every song for me. It's like the ands and buts and all these, and sometimes you add words
Yeah.
because you had rehearsed it so much that you knew what was gonna
Yeah.
fill in there.
Yeah.
But it's not on the paper. So when you give, because a lot of people ask me when they listen to a song, can I read the lyrics? Sometimes the lyrics don't even be right.
They don't even be matching, bruh. So when I was getting ready to send it to you, I had to like delete. That's not on the final draft. Change the title, boom, boom, put the chorus here, boom, boom, boom. Like, the chorus is all over the place and whatnot. I was like, wow. It kind of starts, it's actually interesting how it often starts. It kind of starts off, at least for me, in what other people would call a mess. And then it's cleaned up
Wow. Yeah.
to be this
Yeah.
final product.
Yeah.
Because I had to, like, the song had a completely different title. The chorus was different. The verses were the same, but the chorus was different. The song title was different. The placements and just certain things that no one would ever really care about. But I had to,
Except
like,
you.
except someone who creates, but I had to go and like adjust that so when I could send it to you and you listen to the song, it actually has.
It makes sense. Word for
Yeah,
word.
because you're gonna see like, where does this section come?
Yeah,
That
so-
ain't on the joint.
So
Like, where
it's
this
so
come from?
funny that you say it starts off as a mess, because mine is similar. But what I do, for some reason, I'm so weird. I don't delete the mess, but what I do is I'll put it far down.
I be doing that
I'll,
too.
I'll push it so far down that you're like, wait, why is this note still going? And then you're like, wait, there's a whole separate. There's like 6 verses here, and it's like sometimes I just want to read what else I was feeling, even though it didn't get into the song. I was like, because sometimes it's so crazy. I don't know if you've ever done this. Go back into your mess and read the actual mess. Sometimes that'll be the inspiration to that new song.
That's true.
Because like I like will read a bar and I'm like, this is a whole nother emotion now that I'm reading it in this day and not the day that I wrote this. So it's like, wow.
I got a whole separate section on my phone for, I call it random lyrics, but for random lyrics. It's like, I tried to put this in this song, it didn't work, so I'm just going to move this to this random lyrics section, and then we're going to pull from it. Yeah, because I'll get lyrical ideas without a song, without a concept.
Wow.
And so it's like, I'll hear, that's another thing too. I don't know if you're the same way. I guess we can get into like song structures and how we actually be writing joints. But like, I don't hear in order. So if there's a 2-verse song, I might hear the 8th bar of verse 2. Like, for example, I have a song on my last tape called The Dream, and it's called Finding Out. Shout out A.O. Don. It's a friend of me and Brandon's. He produced that. There's 3 verses on the joint, and then a bridge, and then the chorus. I heard verse 3 first, and so I literally wrote the song backwards. So I wrote verse 3 because that's where the inspiration was.
Wow.
It's like, I hear this, but it's not verse 1, it's on 3.
And did you
then
know?
I went back.
Did you know it was verse 3 when you were writing?
Yes. Yes.
That's incredible.
So I literally wrote verse 3, and then I think the hook, and then I just went verse 2, verse 1. Sometimes I write bar 8, verse 2 on, and then got the feeling the 1 to 7, and then like I don't know why my brain works like that, but it's like I don't hear or write in order a lot of the times. Sometimes I gotta start in the end or the middle and then work backwards.
Wow, and it makes sense. It actually kind of makes sense because like even in a puzzle, like you're not always like if you're doing a puzzle, you're not always like, okay, I got this piece and this piece works. Perfect. I'm gonna make sure that the next piece goes with that
one.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Because
Right.
you're gonna be here all day.
Yeah.
Because if you allow yourself to see that this piece right next to you just works with this piece, then it would be a lot. It makes way more sense to make the whole puzzle, and it flows more because you're allowing yourself to go back and like, oh, that looks like the piece from the beginning.
Yeah.
And it ties in. See, it's so funny hearing how you structure, and it's so dope. The way that I structure a song is, I would say it's actually a lot different than that. Like even hearing that is like, wow, I want to try that. Like, I've never wrote a verse 2. So what I do is like me and Darrell Brown, that's my best friend.
Shout out.
We started making music together when I was probably like 18 or 19, and we would just freestyle. But for some reason, this boy had a gift at like freestyling a chorus. Like meaning like when we're freestyling, he could do a chorus and then we would freestyle a verse. But if we ever messed up, we can go back to the chorus because the chorus is the embodiment. It's like, you know what I mean? It's the verse is the mashed potatoes and the gravy and all that, you know what I mean? But the chorus is like the plate. Yeah. You can't go nowhere without your plate. How you gonna eat on somewhere? Come on now. Yeah. So it's like for me, sometimes when I'm writing, I'll say the chorus a billion times, and then I'll try to see since I have my general idea, now I'll write my first verse, and I'll continue through that. And since I got my first verse, I always have this thing in my brain where whoever says the second verse is the one who really tried to kill it, like really did that thing, you know. Like if Lil Wayne is last, you know, it was because his verse was the rawest. So in my brain, I'm kind of like, let me warm him up. Let me warm him up. Like in my brain, I'm thinking like, oh, because I'm from a duo. I started as a duo, so I even think of myself as 2 people when I'm writing. I'm like, oh, I'm the opener and I'm the closer. So like, it's almost like I put on 2 different hats because I really want to finish the idea, you know, when I get to that second verse.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, for me, it's just kind of random. Yeah. Like I don't try to write backwards. Yeah, sometimes I hear a really dope idea, but it's the closing idea of the song. Sometimes I hear how I want to close the song and don't even know how to start it.
Wow.
Sometimes, and it'd be like that for like story-based songs too. It's like, man, I got a dope story. I want to end it like this. Now, how do I get there?
Yeah, I think that's the dopest challenge though. Yeah. I think that's the dopest challenge, to know how the story ends, but now you got to fill it up with the beginning and the characters that had the character development to help them get to the end. Because I feel like that's kind of like movies. How many movies have we watched? Have you guys watched Sinners?
I have not.
Okay.
Not yet.
Well, movies like Sinners. Dang, I don't even know. I don't even want to do this to you. But all I'll say is there's always movies that start off with the ending and then they come back around.
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of Tarantino films.
So you wondering how I got here?
Yeah,
you know the old movies?
exactly.
You might be wondering how I got to
And
this
then
point.
the middle comes, and sometimes the middle's in the end, and then you have to piece it together. That's what it sounds like when you told me that. It's like, whoa, it sounds like you're able to clearly see the vision of where you're trying to get to, and then now you just need to know how to get us there too.
A lot of times it's like that.
Wow.
A lot of times it's like that. I got a question for you, bro. Because mentally I'm so stuck on values.
I appreciate it, dude.
How are you making these beats? Are you picking them out? Do you got a producer you lease them from?
got
Like
you.
how do you
I got you. This is
how are
actually
you picking your sound?
This is actually the most important question to me, and I'm gonna beeline to the camera. I need you guys. I need a producer. I feel like I have a great ear for the things that I love, and I don't want to make the beat. I don't, dude. I think that is such an amazing hat to wear,
yeah.
but I don't want to wear it. I think my true gift is being a wordsmith, and I've been blessed with feelings and emotions to be able to attach myself to beats. But I don't have a producer, dude. I pick those beats.
Okay.
I pick those beats randomly. Sometimes it'll be YouTube, sometimes it'll be random, but I've never had a consistent person who makes beats. I literally just reached out to my first producers literally like last week, you know what I mean? And I would love to create a vision with somebody. I'm actually going to the studio tomorrow.
Okay.
With somebody to create the beat in front of me, and I love that type of stuff because like as fast as they can make it is as fast as I can write it. Yeah, because like I feel the emotion with them. So when they're complete, just like you said, we know where we're trying to end, but as they're trying to get to the middle and the beginning, so am I.
Okay.
So yeah, I usually pick a beat just based on the emotion that I'm feeling in that moment.
Yeah, it's wearing the producer hat is different. I wear that hat.
So you make all your beats?
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough.
I make if I'm being technical, I think out of everything I put out, I've made 95% of it.
And so okay, here's my thing, and maybe I'm just in my head about it with the hats, right? Because I wear a lot of hats, especially with like, bro, we're not even singing right now or rapping right now. Now we're literally just it's an art form to do this. It's an art form to be able to interview or produce or podcast and be able to have a free-flowing conversation with cameras in front of you. So this is a completely different hat.
Yeah.
And you go crazy. But what I will say is, like, for me, sometimes the producer hat sometimes is so heavy that I lose the emotion of what I was trying to do. And now I'm trying to figure out how to get the right sound. And those loopholes take me away from, like, when I'm done, now let's make some fire. Like, I
feel it.
And maybe I need to see it to believe it. Like, maybe I need to be in the field with somebody who's done that, because it's like something I don't want to do.
Well,
And I love the collaboration part of it too.
Yeah, that part is phenomenal. Like Sacrifice, shout out Mafioso Beats, aka my boy Ricky. So that's a co-production with me and him.
Oh, fire.
And I never forget, we was at his crib when we first started, and then he sent the original draft, and it was still in its baby form, still in baby beat form. It was still like, I don't even know if the joint was like a minute long, probably not even that. And then I took it back to my setup, and I just gave it more life and extended it and gave it song structure and whatnot. But for me, it's like, and we can actually have this talk because we're both musicians. Yeah. So I started off, I'm a musician in my church.
Oh, fire.
I'm on the organ, and so
you play keys?
Yeah, I play keys.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah, I play organ, keys, bass, guitar, and I can do some strumming on acoustic and just teach myself a little lick on electric.
Nice.
Not enough to get on stage or do
got you.
But I started off just making stuff on GarageBand.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, if I have an emotion, and this is just for me, like if I have an emotion or I have a feeling or a weight, what does that sound like?
Yeah.
So if I'm angry and I'm finna light up, I'm finna blow up, what does that sound like?
Wow, yeah.
It ended up sounding like Revenge on the Soul.
Wow.
Got a music video for that. Y'all check it out. If I'm, depressed, What does that sound like?
Mm.
Okay, this might sound weird, but pop music and depression sounds very fire,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. Yeah,
It
yeah.
sounds
It
hard.
does because it's like, again, it's like nodding or enjoying pain.
You're right.
It's like sounding good pain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we might be here longer.
Yeah.
And so that's what I try to do. So a lot of times it's like, okay, if I have a specific emotion, then it's like, okay, what does this sound or feel like?
Mm-hmm.
And it may just start off with me just listening to different types of music until I find myself replaying the type of music that just draws me more. And I'm like, oh, that's what it sounds like.
And then you
And then
so
I
do you
go
know,
and
do you
create.
know music theory?
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. So basically, when you're feeling these emotions, right? I think here's another difference between like the ability that you have that I feel like I'm still reaching a certain heights when it comes down to like playing, and like I play bass and I've been playing more, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't be consistent. Like now I'm super consistent, and I could see how better I've gotten, even though I didn't play all the years that I've had a bass. Doesn't mean I've been playing the bass.
Yeah.
And the bass is what I personally fell in love with. I love keys though. I can like dibble and dabble, but since I don't know all my theory, or sometimes when I'm trying to go for an emotion, I don't know how to translate, because like you gotta think about it when it comes down to words, right? I practice words my whole life.
Yeah.
So when I hear a beat that's already created and I feel the emotion, I know exactly.
Just put the words.
Just put the words.
put
I
the
know
words.
how to talk back to the beat, but to start the conversation is crazy. I've never started the conversation and finished it.
Yeah. That's
That's a skill.
yeah. Well, God be the glory, bro.
Shout
but
out God.
yeah, shout out. But yeah, a lot of times I start the beats off like that, or it's just like I go through the journey of creating, and I picture it like, mining for gold. You know what I mean? You just keep going and you just keep going. Eventually, you're gonna strike what you may feel to be gold, or maybe you're hitting gold all along. You don't realize it till way later in life. You start feeling an emotion. You go back on some old stuff you made. Like, oh, wait a minute, that's perfect for what I'm feeling right now. And so a lot of times it's like, okay, like for example, if I know I'm finna make a project, I start like a building. You start with the foundation, go ground up. So I'm making beats. I'm listening to songs. Okay, can I sample this? Can I use this loop here? Or I'll get on my keyboard and I'll just mess around. And I'm like, okay, am I feeling kind of deep? Okay, I'm feeling kind of deep. Let me go into like a minor scale and stuff. And like, for example, and this only gonna really make sense to musicians out there, but like when I was making my more sad, depressed music, I lived in D minor.
Wow.
D minor, a moment's time, D minor. I think We Might Be Here Longer is D minor, or at least use some D minor chords. And then I freaking took those chords, moved them joints up. You move them joints up a half step, and then you got Time, which is a whole other song. So I just lived in like
In close
minor,
quarters.
yeah, minor scales and like pop at that given moment. And then as I started to feel lighter, then I started shifting. You'll hear it on this upcoming project that we'll talk about on another episode. I started shifting more to sampling. You know what I mean? So like with my last project and with this one, I started doing more sampling kind of thing because I wasn't necessarily feeling as heavy.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, let me go to lighter sounds. Let me start, pull in and sample this record. I'm on track lib. Like, okay, let me try this. Let me try that. Boom, 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 boom. And so it really, for me, it starts there. Like, I got to build it from the body all the way up and be like,
Wow. I would love to see that in person.
bet.
For real.
I literally do it on, this is what I do it on.
Say less. And I have a little headphone jack, so we could just be.
I literally do it on like them same broke headphones. It's the same ones I use. I literally do it, and I just do it in my bed, or I do it at my keyboard. But yeah, I asked because I was like, when I heard Values, I was like, that is so perfect for what he just wrote.
Thank you.
That was perfect. So when I'm listening to music, since I'm the artist and the producer, I flip-flop the hats.
Exactly.
So I'm listening to the lyrics as an artist and the melody and the chorus as an artist and songwriter. I'm like, this is amazing. And then I'm like, okay, I understand it as an artist. Now let me flip it to the producer side. And I'm like, this dude chose the best piece of music for what he just wrote.
So most recently, I've actually been getting that sentence a lot, and it is starting to the way I'm starting to internalize it, because I'm hearing it from different people, and God don't play around. God doesn't play around. If you get past the compliment and you listen to the meaning, what I'm hearing people say is, you have an ear for something, right?
Yeah.
And you're able to translate it.
Yeah.
Right? But that also gives me encouragement, like, wow, if I have an ear for it, maybe I can create it then. You see what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. I feel like I do have a gift of when a beat is already done, I'm like, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one. And then I'm telling you, I could 10 minutes, 5 minutes, boom, done, freestyle, it's over. That was my emotion. Feels good, it's done. But at the same time, it's like, maybe I could take a little bit more time with the music and build it from the ground up, and that might even be more raw of an emotion for me. So I'm not gonna lie.
You never know.
I talk a lot of mess about like not wanting to produce, but I got every instrument at my house, and it's eating me up a little bit. So
the elements is right there. I got instruments at my house too, and it's right there. Like I remember, like one of the guitar. I have an electric guitar. Bought it senior year of high school. That joint just sat. Wasn't time yet. But when it became time, next thing you know, I was like, and I'm not like an electric guitar player. See me in a rock band kind of joint.
Like, see me in a rock band is crazy.
You know?
Star power.
Yeah. But when I reached that right point in life and I expanded my music taste in terms of what I just enjoyed listening to, and I started to realize, like, wait a minute, I already know the theory. I just got to learn the technique. Next thing you know, I'm picking up my guitars, and I'm like, I can hear guitar on this beat right here. I can hear this one right here. So I started doing that, and I'm like, shoot, I'm playing guitar now.
Yeah. And it's funny because I love playing instruments.
Yeah.
I love playing instruments. I love playing multiple instruments.
Yeah.
And to be honest, my goal is to really be on some Masego vibes for real, or FKJ, like people who could just pick it up and freely create, freely love, and like dive deep into it. It's just all about like putting all the time and energy and effort into enjoying it, and like taking that time to just slow down and like enjoy each hard moment.
Yeah, and it's definitely a craft.
Yeah,
it's definitely a craft. But for me, it's like, and the reason why I personally I stay on the producer side as well is because I actually did an EP years ago called Keep It Going, where that was the first time I just leased all the beats. It was just 5 tracks, and it's a dope project. I wrote at the time was my best material, but then I noticed, I was like, I don't really feel like I gave everything, even though it's just 5 songs.
Wow.
I didn't feel like I gave everything artistically, and that's when I realized, like, oh, it feels different when I actually see it from the ground up.
Wow.
And so in that moment, I told myself, like, when the beat is right and someone else made it, I'll just switch the hat and be like, let me get that, bro. And I've done that. But if I hear something and I'm like, I can make that myself.
Wow.
Or maybe I can make something better, or maybe I can put my own twist on it, then I'm finna do it.
I think you just messed me up when you said it feels as though you didn't give it your all. Wow.
That's just me though.
No.
This is me though.
No. Don't backpedal. That was beautiful. That was an amazing statement, and it should really stand. You didn't give it your all because there's more to you than just this one facet, and also you can always get better at something else. If like for me, because to be honest, I'm really just mirroring what you're saying, and I'm being all selfish. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna lie, I'm eating this up because I'm finally hearing holes in the gap. Like, that's my favorite season right now is my values, because I'm trying to finally humble myself enough to listen to the holes in my gaps, or like gaps in my character development of like trying to be the best version. Right. And that's why I wrote that song. I'm looking at my value. Yeah. Could you love the best version of me? And it's funny because like, I didn't know you could humble yourself, you know what I mean? And just ask a question and really get some game and say, I want your game. That's already bigging somebody up. You know what I mean? And it's really been a beautiful experience to really try to understand from a different perspective, like truly understand, not just ask a question and then not be listening. Like, now I feel like I'm in a season. I'm 26, bro.
25,
dude, and I'm trying to listen now. And I don't care if you're 22. You know what I mean? I'm trying to hear you because your life experience and what you've done and what you've been able to accomplish is inspiring to me.
I appreciate
You know
that,
what I
bro.
mean? And that's why it's like I might mess around and go make something tonight. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because it's like I just appreciate seeing the proof in the pudding. I think the reason why I didn't listen or I didn't like listening is because the people who used to talk the most to me in like a young season of me, I couldn't respect what they're saying because the proof wasn't in the pudding. And as a kid, if you see that too much, you think everyone is like that. But it's not like that. You gotta grow up. And I feel like I'm finally trying to grow up and be like, oh, you know what? People got some real game out here. People got some real game out here. This man, Deshaun, hey, if you have not listened to his stuff, go back and start from some of his earliest songs. And he's been spitting for a really, really long time. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, he's. I appreciate that. Not you getting humble now. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, for real though, bro. For real though, bro. You are truly a great artist, bro. Like, bro, Brandon. I don't know if he be telling you, but Brandon has showed me every single project, every video. This man supports you, bro. Every song that you haven't dropped. Bro, I used to get the unreleased joints. He's like, don't tell him I showed you this. I'm like, bro, we don't even talk like that. I just got your number like last week, bro. He's like, don't tell him I showed you. And I'm like, but I just see the consistency. So I've seen the work you've put in. I've seen the beginning stages. I've seen the production and Brandon go up. You know what I mean? I've seen you guys rise together, bro. And it's awesome, bro. It's awesome, bro. You go crazy.
I appreciate that for real, man. Dab me up again, bro.
Right. Yeah, you go crazy.
Man, we gonna have to get a song together.
It's
good,
good,
especially if you keep doing records like Values,
dude.
Bro, you know
honest,
how
bro,
easy of a song that is for me to do. I couldn't.
Hey, guess
how many
what?
verses you want?
Guess
bro?
what? Wrote that first take. 5 minutes. I was driving, transporting. Easy song. Hey, no. I was at the cookie store. So I work at a cookie store.
Yeah.
I was there. It was so impactful to me, that emotion, that I played that beat and I wrote it while I was working. And it took like 5-10 minutes, bro.
That's how you know it's special.
I felt that in my soul.
That's how you know.
And that's
it's
why I put it as the opening to the podcast and the closing to it, because it's like, this is literally everything my podcast is about. Is when I'm talking to you, when I'm talking to anybody, I'm just working through trying to understand me. Yeah. Even though you're talking, I'm trying to see the things that you've learned and how I can integrate them into my life, and how your lessons and how things that I may say can integrate into yours. I'm just trying to get my values in check so that I can love me and the people watching can love me. And if they're going to love someone, it better be the best version of me. You feel me?
Yeah, that's dope. That just made me want to go and play that song 1,000 more times, bro. That song is dope. I heard that and I'm like, oh, that joint beautiful, bro. I appreciate it. Like,
go check out My Values by Demiere Wright.
Nah, for real. Go and check out that record. If y'all had not heard that record, I'm gonna be sure to have links in all of the description for everything. But definitely go and check that out. Go and check out his podcast as well. Go ahead and put them on to the podcast, bro. Yeah. Let them know what it is again.
I got you. It's the Right Here Right Now podcast. My last name is Wright, but with a W. So it's going to be Right Here, WRIGHT, Right Now podcast with the host, Demiere Wright. This has been amazing, bro. To be honest, I feel like you might need to get me on a solo on your podcast. Like, I need to be on an Unrehearsed podcast now and just feel that flow and energy, bro. We got to do this again.
This is what it's like.
Nah, we got to do this.
This is what it's like. This is Unrehearsed. I came in here. I was like, okay, I definitely want to. I asked something like this. We definitely want to talk about something like that. But the discussion is what drives it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I didn't write down one question. I did not write down. This was Right Here, Right Now, Unrehearsed. Yeah. So it's crazy how we've been doing something in a similar facet, and it finally meshed, and now it makes sense. Right. And I appreciate this, bro.
So yeah, for sure. And this is This is and has been a special edition of Unrehearsed and Right Here, Right Now. The collab episode. You feel me? As far as Unrehearsed goes, you're going to catch it where you can always catch it. You know, we got episodes on wherever you download, everywhere you download your Spotify, Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We got the visuals going to go up on YouTube and stuff like that. We'll have the content going for social media and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? More coming. Be sure to download Sacrifice, my new song. It should be out by the time this joint drop. I believe it will. It should be out by the time this joint drop. Everything is set up for it and everything to come out. So make sure y'all stream that. Like I said, it is off of an upcoming project called Long Live. More on that on the way. Yeah. Anything else you want the people to know?
I got you. So I am coming out with my first album. It is called Love on Autopilot. It's going to be around 13 tracks. I don't know the release date because I'm getting it mixed and mastered right now. But as soon as that happens, I'm going straight into video, straight into production, straight into a little movie. You know what I mean? Because I've always really wanted to bring music to life through visuals. Brandon knows. So we got something cooking for real. And I also got an EP coming out with my boy TJ McCarty. It's called People Pleasing. It's going to be a 7-track EP. And again, Right Here, Right Now podcast, YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, all that good jazz. And look out for me in some new shows as well. Demiere Wright.
Heck yeah. Links in the description to all of that and to our socials as well. See y'all. It's been another episode. Y'all.